Hi, everyone. Welcome to Happy Paper People, where 2023 in HPP is the year of using scraps and forgotten supplies. And today we're going to make a cute item for your junk journals or folios or even by themselves out of scraps. We're using larger scraps for this one. And these are what do you call them? Photo frames, photo slides in pockets or journal cards. There are a lot of different things that you can do with them. There are a number of variations. Today I'm going to show you just a quick and easy basic variation, probably just the basic start. But then if you would like to see the longer version, look down in the description box. There is a link to the live where we made these, and you'll see a number of different variations and ideas of ways to use them. So check that out, but we'll just do the basic one today. But here's what we're looking at. This is a photo slide. You've got the photo inside, a little bit of decoration, and it is in a pocket. I put the thumb notch in the back. I don't care for the thumb notch in the front because that doesn't make it look like a slide, in my opinion. Just a pretty journal card inside that you can tuck back in. Okay, here's another one. This one is one of the cards from a Minte paper pack, Lady, and they always have one sheet in there, Minte, Stamperia, they all have one sheet in there that is cards about ATC size. And this is one of those cards. And again, a journal card that would pull out. This one came from a digital from the Torn Page, Cheryl Lawless, who is in Happy Paper People. She is the owner of the Torn Page on Etsy, and this came from one of her digital packs. And I didn't want to put anything down here because I just really love the rusty hinges of this, but I thought this cute little vintage bicycle and some rusty old lace would be great on there. And then I just cut out a tab, just wanted a different shaped tab, so I just cut that out by hand and added that onto the journal card for that one. The next one, whoops, bent that. Next one is a puppy, and this one has a side pull-out journal card. You could decorate the front, but I don't want to bulk it up so that it won't fit in there. So you could actually write, if you use maybe white gel pen or white Posca, you could write on the front as well as the back there. And then there's a tiny little tuck spot or pocket on the front here. This is just an old vellum letter that I stuck in there. And the last one is a journal card and not a pocket. So same thing with the photo slide, just very simple decor. This was from the pack Gentleman, which I want to say is 13 Arts. It might... I don't know. It might have been 13 Arts. It might have been something else. But I really like that grungy paper. It was very cool. And then just some coffee dyed paper on the back, making it a nice journal card. So that's what we're doing. So you see a couple variations there, but really just the basic pocket. So we're going to go over how to do the basic pocket. And then, as I mentioned, look in the description box for the link to the live where we go in detail and do a lot of different variations. So here are some scraps that I have pre-cut just to show you some options. The size of the scrap, the size of the photo card doesn't really matter. This one has cracked as I bent it, and that's okay. I'll just ink it up and you won't even notice. And it will look like it's a little aged, which I like. I like this paper because it's got that text behind it. Here's another one. And here's one with a circle. So you can make them any size you want. Now, how do you cut the hole? There are a lot of different ways. This one, I used a circle punch, and it's 2.5 inches. So that's a pretty good size circle punch, you know, to make one of those. This one, I used a square punch, but let me show you this one. I also used this square punch. It's not the same size, but I'll show you how to do that. It's super simple. You can also cut it out with a craft knife, and I can show you how to do that as well. So first, let's pick an image. There are a lot of approaches to it. This I find is a very simple approach. I've got some digitals that I'd already just cut apart here, and let's go through and pick an image that we would like to use. That looks like a lot of fun. There we go. That looks like a bunch of happy paper people at retreat, right? That'll work. Okay. And then I've got 3 larger pieces of scrap here that, depending, this one will probably be folded this way, depending on how big the photo is that I'm using. I might can get 2 out of it. Might even be able to fold it the other way and make a real small one. This one I could get 2 or 3. So let's audition each of these and see which we like the best. That's what it's going to look like next to it. It's a little pale. This one kind of looks like the beach stripes, so that's kind of cool. I do kind of like that. I am kind of partial to this paper. I just really like this paper. That's a little pale over there. Let's go with this blue. I do like that. That's very pretty. So we'll set those aside. I will grab a paper trimmer because we will need that. Okay, so how do I decide how big to make my photo slide to begin with? I like to start with my picture and decide how much of the picture I want to show. So first of all, if I lay the picture down, I'm not going to worry about cutting off all the excess around here because something needs to glue on. Once I cut the hole and I put this behind it, something needs to attach. And so if I leave that excess around it, it can attach. So I could even put that in that circle right there and get all 5 of them. We would just be cutting off the 2 on the bottom. But that is a really cute circle picture right there. And that's the same paper. I could even turn it this way. So that's what it would look like on a circle. We're going to do it on a square or rectangle and see if we can get them all in. And show you how we do that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to decide how much space I want up at the top. You can have a very small or thin strip up at the top. You could have it thicker. You know, you can do anything that you want on there. So like this, and then your sides. So I'm going to do a square because I want it to be a rectangle. And I'm going to first straighten up that side because I'm going to guide off of that side. So let me just put that in the paper trimmer. Cut that down to there. All right, so I'm going to guide off this side. And I'm going to, this is really a good eyeball thing. You can make it specific if you want. You can take it to exact measurements. I would probably say I want maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch on the side. You know, maybe 1/4 inch is good. I probably want, let's say 1/4 to 1/2 inch on top. I kind of like the larger on top, so I'll probably go 1/2 inch on top, maybe 1/4 inch on bottom, but I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to put it in here, and I can tell that if I slide it all the way in, I've got about 1/2 inch there. So if I go from what's going to be the top and I slide it in, that's going to give me 1/2 inch. Now, if I line the paper up right here, I probably have about 1/4 inch right there. And if I get done and I find it's just a little bit too wide, I could trim off just a tiny bit. So it's a great guide right there, built into this punch. So I'm going to punch a square, and then these can be used for all kinds of things later, like the covers that we just made, or twinchies. Okay, so now I want to take my picture, and I'm going to set my picture under here, and I'm going to see how wide I need this to be. So if I want, you know, I don't have to get every bit of their hat in there. Maybe I'm going to, you know, worry about just making sure I have their faces in there. And then one is a little farther over. The one on the bottom is a little farther over. If I were to come down to the bottom, that's the widest part of the photo. So it's going to need to be wide enough to get her in there, but it doesn't even have to get all of her hair. She's got some funky glasses on. Okay. So if I look at that, I'm going to try to, I just do this in my head. I'm going to try to show you what I'm thinking. So if I've got it over here and I've got the whole face in, and I want to get this one in, and I'm going to say that her face is right here. And so I need to get my, my hole, my rectangular hole, over to here. I also do not want to go past the edge of the picture because I need a little bit of that picture to glue on, right? So I just want to go pencil. There's got to be a pencil around here somewhere. Okay, so I want to make sure I get her face in. This is kind of a weird one with this face. Usually it's not quite so specific like this, but if I go to here, I can get her face in and I'm still going to have that much to glue on. So that'll be just fine. All right, so I'm going to take that square punch again, and I'm going to go back in from the top because I'm using the same guide, so I don't even have to worry about getting it exact. Now see my pencil mark right there? I'm going to line up the left side of the punch with the pencil mark, and I'm going to punch and then try to get it out. Okay, so now I've got it as wide as I need. Right, there we go. So now I just need to get it as long as I need. Now, if I was doing a smaller picture and I wanted the whole thing in, I would have done this way, fold it. In fact, I could just fold it this way, and you could do two side by side, and if it was a bigger one picture, and you'd have a longer but thinner. So this one needed to be a little bit wider, and now it needs to be a little bit longer. So how far do I need to go down? I need to go, look at that. I need to go at least one full punch, probably exactly one full punch. So we're going to go down here. Now going in from the side is not exactly the same guide. It goes in a little deeper this way than it did from the side. So all I'm going to do is look at where I'm looking right here at where the edge is, and I'm lining up the bottom of the punch with the edge, and I'm just making sure that I can see a little bit of gap there. So it's going to punch right over. But why I'm leaving a little gap there is so that I can line. Let me get a hold of that, and then I can get the light. Hang on, it's a little hard to see with the light. Okay, so see that little gap? That allows me to line up the edge of my punch right here with the edge of the paper right there. And if I can see that the gap is about even all the way up and down, then I know that my punch is aligned straight, so that this line will continue straight down here. And then all I do is punch that out. And if it's not exactly straight, is it really going to bother me? Probably not so much. Okay, so now we've got 3/4 of our rectangle, and all we need is that little piece out. Now I can't, hang on just one second, ignore. Okay, I can't reach it from this side. I can't reach it from that side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my card where it's going to be the slide, the photo slide. I know if I have this in here, and even whether I put the picture there or not, if I have a 1/2 inch here and I want, or 1/4 inch, whatever it is, I want about the same over here, I can just cut it right down there. And if one ends up a little bit larger than the other, I can correct that later. So I'm just going to cut that for the width of my slide. And now I can get to it from this side. So now I can line up not only from the bottom, but from the left side. So the bottom here and the left side there. So all I'm going to do is line up those two, which is a little more fiddly, lining up two sides at the same time. But don't worry, if you don't get it exactly on, scissors do wonders. Scissors can trim up any tiny little bitty thing, and it's really not a big deal. There you go. Okay, so now I want to decide how much space. There we go. Perfect. We get them all in there. We will want to trim off a little bit of this top. Let's not trim off too much. Want to have plenty to glue on there. There we go. Okay. And then I want to decide how much space I want on the bottom. on the bottom of the slide, and that's where you'll decorate or, you know, put a sentiment or whatever you want to do there. And, you know, it doesn't need to be a ton. I don't want it to be too tall. This is a rather large photo, larger than some. And I want to make sure that I have enough paper here to fold it underneath and come back up to the top. So I'm going to just make sure I do by doing a quick measurement here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I went all the way to 6, I don't think that's enough. If I go to 5.5, let's see if I actually have lost my mark. 2, 3, 4, 5.5. If I go to 5.5, do I have enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Although I've got a cut here. Can I deal with the cut? Probably. I can probably put something over it. What if I went to 5? That doesn't leave very much on the bottom. I like 5.5. So let's leave it at 5.5. So the first thing I'm going to do is just trim this side up to be straight. Okay. And I've got a cut here from, this was an offcut from something, so I'd cut into that. I'm going to not worry about that. I'm going to leave it. Now, here's a perfect example where my punch didn't get, hang on a second here. It threw me out. There we go. My punch didn't get exactly even. There's just a tiny little bit there that it's like a hook. So I just do that. It's gone. So don't worry. You can always clean up those things. Not a big deal. Okay. So I think maybe I've got a mark there at 5.5. I'm just going to fold it about right there. Piece of tape on my finger that is now starting to drive me crazy. I didn't have time to go grab a Band-Aid for my craft cut, so I grabbed a piece of washi tape. So, okay, so I'm going to fold it right there in half. I'm just lining up the one side because then I know the other side will line up as well. Fold that over. I could grab a scoreboard. I didn't. I don't know if it's cut exactly even because it is an offcut from something, a scrap. So no big deal. If it isn't, I'll just trim up a side. Okay. Now, here's the cut that I had right up here. That hopefully, let's see, it might even end up glued down. If I even these up right there, it's still 1/4 to 1/2 inch down. But I could also look at that and say I could make that top a little bit smaller. I actually intended to have the sides a little bit smaller, but I think I will. It's going to end up glued. The top won't be glued because it'll be a pocket, but the sides will be glued. So I'm not going to worry about it. And maybe I put a piece of washi tape or some little decor over that just to make sure that it's held in place. Okay, so there is our basic photo slide. Then we're going to take our picture and we're going to glue it right in here. So we want the glue. See if our art glitter glue is going to work today. I'm going to put a bead right around the edge of the frame because some of mine are very close, don't have a lot of leeway. There's a little more leeway on top. So I'll give that just a little squiggle. Right. And then I'm going to lay it down. For me, it's easier to lay it down and put this paper on it than to try to set it underneath. I know I've got a little bit of wiggle room, but not a whole lot of time with the art glitter glue. Okay, I like that. It doesn't matter if the picture's straight or not, according to how it's cut. It just matters if it's straight according to your eye in the frame. That's all that matters there. Now, you could, and I have, inked the inside of this frame before putting the photo in. I did not do that on this one. Not sure that it really needs it. It's a sepia picture, and so they look very, very vintage, and I don't know that the frame necessarily needs that. So then I fold it in half. Make sure we have a nice, see that paper. I prefer a cardstock for this. I think it gives it a little more structure, but cardstock may tend to crack a bit unless you give it a little bit of a little spritz of water, or dip your finger in water and just run it over it. It'll help it to bend and be a little more flexible. So now I'm just going to glue it down the sides. Easy enough. Now, the closer I stay to the edge, the larger my pocket will be. If I make this a big glue line that goes in a ½ inch, just know that you're going to have a pocket sized accordingly. That one got a little far from the edge, but that's okay. That's why I don't make my tag until I'm done with this, so that the tag is the exact right size. Okay, so there is our basic photo frame. Whoops, I forgot to do a thumb notch if you want it. I'm not going to do it on this one, I think. I did it on some of the others, but then I put a tab on the pocket or on the tag, and so you don't really need a thumb notch necessarily, because you've got the tab to pull it out. So I'm going to put a tab on the tag for this one as well, and so I'm not going to do a thumb notch. Just making sure I've got enough right. I did a very thin bead, so I'm making sure that right there where it's going to get the most stress, there is plenty of glue. Now, even after I've glued this down, if I think I want the sides thinner, or that's not perfectly lined up, I'll just wait till this dries a minute, and then I can go trim that up, which I may do just a little bit. I like it being a little bit thicker on top and a little bit thinner on the sides. That's just totally preference, whatever you want to do. So another thing that you can do is then give it corners. You may or may not want to round the corners or scallop the corners or stub the corners or anything like that. So let me get the pin back in here. Had lots of trouble this winter with glues. I don't know if they're just freezing up, but they're becoming very difficult to get out. Okay, so that cleaned that up a bit. It made it a little thinner, but not a whole lot. Make this one a tiny bit thinner. Probably won't mess with it much, but my preference is kind of a little bit thinner sides. I just like them to look a little bit thinner than the top. So, okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. And that's just really all the cutting we need there till we go to do the tag for it. I'm going to take the scallop on this one because these girls look pretty fancy. So we'll give it the little scallop there. You could do it on all four corners if you want, or just leave it like that. And then we want to make a tag that goes inside there. So to make the tag, grab some I want just a piece that is thin enough. This is thin enough to stick down in here and see how close to the edge we're going. You know, once the glue spread and got dried, how close to the edge am I going? So basically where my notch is right there. And then over on this side, over the top goes over farther, but down inside it seemed to spread a little more. So if I stay within those notches, my tag should go in and out pretty easily. So let's see what our dimension is from notch to notch. That is 1, 2, 3, and an 1/8. So I'm just going to make it 3. We'll make it a 3-inch tag. Well, I'm going to need that. I am going to need that. We'll make a 3-inch tag. And our length, that is 5.5. It's not going to go all the way down. We know, well, it should. Actually, we don't have any glue down there on the bottom. So it's about 5.5. So I'll go slightly less than 5.5, and I'm going to put a tab of some sort on it. And what did we say? It was 3 1/8. So I'm going to go a 3-inch tag. There we go. And then I think I will stub the tab, not stub, scallop. Scallop the tag, scallop the tag so it matches the pocket. Okay, and that can go in either way. And then we need some kind of a tab on it. I was thinking this morning we need to do a whole tutorial on 10 different types of tabs to make, because there are lots and lots of different types. But I'll usually look to the scraps that I have to make a tab for the tag. So if I put it in this side, then I kind of like having that right there. If I had this side showing, then I kind of like that side. But I think it's a nice contrast to have that. This doesn't look exactly straight, but close. So we'll straighten that up just a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm going to grab my corner rounder, the small one, the 1/4 inch, and just round these. And then I'm going to take this, fold it in half, and I can glue it on, I can staple it on, whatever you want to do. Just a very simple, using another scrap, matches. It's got a little bit of design to it because you rounded the corners. There. I think I will glue this one on. It just seems a little bit nicer than the staple. So a little glue on both sides, and it just depends on how far down you want to put your tab. You can put it right up there at the top. You can put it all the way down, so just a tiny bit is sticking up. That is completely up to you. So I'm going to put it about right there. Okay, and then that tag goes inside here. Now, if I wasn't putting a tab on it, I think I would want to put a thumb notch. Doesn't go there. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, so there we go. We have the photo slide with a little tab on top, so you can tell that there's a pull out. If I wasn't putting that tab on, I probably would punch a thumb notch over here so that you could get it out easily. So that's it in a nutshell. That's very quick and easy how to make a photo slide pocket. If you want to make a journal card, then all you do is not fold the back up. You would cut it off, and then you would just back it with whatever you want, coffee dyed paper or lined paper, whatever it is, and you make it a journal card instead of a pocket. So again, if you are interested in seeing many more variations and some takes that we took on it of making some different kinds of things, check in the description box for the long version, which was our Happy Paper People Live, where we did all kinds of fun things. And if you are in Happy Paper People, don't forget to do the February Prompts Challenge. Come join us on Facebook in Happy Paper People. And the February challenge is to make anything you want using red paper strips, lace, and vellum or tracing paper. And you get a bonus entry if you use something found in Grandma's attic. And everybody who posts something in the group with the hashtag HPPFEB prompts, the last day of February, we will pull all those prompts. We will draw, and somebody will win $10 that they can use at our HPP sale or at the website, whichever they choose. So, hey, it's $10 free craft products. So come join in, make something there. And then we are quickly approaching 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So I have a box that is filled with craft supplies, over $450 worth of craft supplies that is ready to go. It's just ready to be labeled and shipped out. So if you come back and comment on this video or any or all videos that are on the Happy Paper People YouTube channel, then we are going to draw, as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to draw from that hashtag. Leave the hashtag 1,000 subs in your comment, and one person will win that box that is valued at more than $450 in craft supplies. So thanks for joining me today. Hope to see you on Happy Paper People In the Facebook group, we love more friends and inspiration, and it's always wonderful to find some new crafty friends. So join us again here. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.